So this segment of videos is for stretching and mobility. A lot of the exercises I'm going to go through, you can either hold in a stagnant position or you can move in and out of that range of motion. And so I'm going to show it both ways, and you pick whatever works best for you. Most of the holds, if you're going to hold, just hold stagnant, hold for at least 30 seconds to a minute. I'm a believer of the longer the hold, the better, because it gets into the deeper connective tissue in the fascia, but that's just a personal preference. Everybody has an opinion on that. So do what works best for you. If you're going to do movement in and out of the movement stretches, try to move 10, 15 times, 20 times within that range, and try to create some good blood flow. That is the purpose of the movement, is trying to create opening and create space, bring blood into the area. With sitting a lot more, our hips and our low backs, everything's very compressed, it's very shortened, and we need to open everything up to create movement and space for those joints and muscles to move freely. So that is the purpose of this segment of videos, and I hope you enjoy it. So we're going to go over a nice hamstring stretch that you can do while sitting at your desk. I am at my imaginary desk. I'm sitting upright, and on the other side of the kitchen table here, I have the chair, and I am able to bring one leg up, and so that's reaching across, and it's getting a nice stretch to the back side of my hamstrings. When we're seated, our hamstrings get really shortened, so it's important to try and stretch them out. You can do this one intermittently, every half hour, just stick a leg up. You can do both at the same time while you work away, or one at a time. Another good little stretch to do to add in to change things up for your position would be to bring your one leg up and then bring the other leg over and across. Depending on your range of motion, your foot might be more on your shin, or if you can pull it all the way up so that it's above your knee joint and on your quad. You just don't want it directly on your knee joint. And then you can sit there and type away. Now this obviously depends on the height of your kitchen table or wherever you're sitting. But this is something good to do to switch up the position when we are seated and help to lengthen out the backside of your legs. So we're going to do a nice seated twist. I kind of shimmy forward a bit onto the front of my chair. I'm going to cross one leg over the other. I'm crossing my left leg over my right. My right foot is staying planted. My right arm is coming onto the other side, the back side of my left leg, and I'm going to use my left arm to push up. I have it flat on the base of the chair, and I'm pushing up, and then I'm looking backwards. So I'm twisting away from my legs. So I'm applying some pressure against that left knee with my right arm, and I'm pushing up and away to twist to the left while pushing to the right. Another version of seated twist to get a different part of your back is simply keeping both feet planted, and you're just turning and twisting. Using your right hand to apply pressure on that left leg, push away, switch sides. I feel a bit more into my low back when I do this versus the cross-legged one. A nice hip opener that you can do while sitting at your desk would be to bring one leg up onto the other leg. So my right foot is onto my quad. You want to make sure it's not too close to the knee joint. Sitting upright and just pushing down onto that knee. Again, make sure there's no knee pain. If it does hurt, what you can do is walk that right foot out a little bit so it opens up this area and takes some pressure off of the knee joint. And you should feel a nice stretch to the back side of the leg that's bent. To increase it, you can actually lean forward. You'll feel an even greater pull through the back side of your glute and maybe even into your back a little bit. Good, and you can move in and out of this one or just stay stagnant. From the side here, I'm pushing down on that knee and I'm leaning forward, feeling a nice stretch through this back side. Moving in and out, that's what it looks like. So we're gonna do a nice hip opener and a low back opener as well. So my feet are wide, I have a wide stance, and I'm just going to slowly forward fold. Letting your body collapse down, head drops, And you should feel a nice stretch through the upper part of the hamstring into the glutes. You might even feel it into your low back as well. From the side, nice forward fold, feeling it through here. So we're going to do a nice seated cat-cow to open up your back. So extend, round, extend, round. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in. So we are going to get into a nice deep squat. And you can hang out here, kind of take your elbows and create some movement through the inside of the knees to push the knees out. Bring your hands together in prayer, and you can use that as kind of leverage. You can move around in it. I also really feel this through my soleus and my calves when I move. Then you can also add in a twist. So taking one hand to support the back, bring that other arm up around the leg. Great hip opener after sitting all day. So this is a great stretch for your adductors and your hamstrings. If you're lunging out to the side, I like to move around, and then I can bring my toe down to the ground, rotate it back out. So I'm getting all the fibers, both medial and lateral sides of the hamstring and the adductor actually. Then walk around to the front, do the same. Walk around to the side. You can add in hamstring here. Going up and down. Good. So this one we're kneeling. This is great for the posterior chain. You're bringing your one leg over the other leg and then leaning back into that right hip. So my left leg has come over my right leg, and then I'm leaning into that back right hip area. Right leg over left leg, lean back and away from that right leg. So this sequence is great for your low back. Start with single leg, head up, come down. Single leg, down. You can stay there doing that, or you can bring both legs in. Everything should be pain-free. And then just hold, bring those knees, hug those knees into the chest. Really feel an opening through that back, lower back area. Then I actually like to do some circular motions here. So it's almost like you're massaging that sacrum right in the base of your back. Do 5 circles one direction. Just using those knees to kind of massage the back. Good. So this is a great hamstring release. I'm just using my banding, but you can use a yoga strap, you can use a towel, a belt, whatever you have in your house. So one leg straight up, the other leg down, or wherever it's comfortable. You can bring it, have the other leg bent as well if that's too hard on your low back to have it straight. And straight-legged hamstring is going to focus towards the lower part of the hamstring. Bent-legged hamstring is going to focus more on the upper part, glute area of the hamstring. And so I actually just like to move around within that. You need to release your hamstrings after a day of work because sitting all day, they are shortened and they're also being compressed. So they're being deactivated the whole time. So it's really important to try to get blood flow through them. Something else you can do when you're stretching would be to get a nice quad contraction right here. that's going to inhibit the hamstrings, and it lets them kind of relax when you contract the opposite muscle of what you're stretching. So a nice quad contraction, I really feel it pull there through the hamstring. Then I'll do the same into that bent leg. Good. From here, I can add in my adductor, bring it right out to the side. Make sure that this left hip, I'm stretching my right leg, that my left hip does not pop up, so I want to try and keep that down onto the ground. I'll feel a nice pull through the long head of the adductors and that inner thigh. And then I like to come right across the body and get a nice stretch. You might have to let go of the band a little bit to give your leg a bit more room. I don't have enough range of motion to stretch it in the same position I was on the other side. And then I'll feel a nice pull through this back side of the glute into that IT band and even into the low back. Good. And then back. And you can run through that sequence, 5-10 times. This one is great for opening up your hip flexors and your low back. The angle of the camera is bad, but it was the best way to show you my leg positioning, so I apologize. So I'm on my back. I'm bringing my right leg up over my right knee. My foot is staying just by the knee, and then I'm dropping both knees to the right side. So whichever leg comes up and over, you move to that same side. And then open up your arms into a T and turn your head away from the side that your legs are dropping. You should feel a nice opening through here. The more you push down with that top leg, trying to force the bottom leg into the ground, the more of a stretch you will feel. So work within your pain-free range of motion. Windshield wipers are a great way to get things moving after a day of work. Just going back and forth. You can start pushing up a little bit. So releasing the hip flexors is really important in relieving pain from the low back. When people are sitting all day, a chief complaint is low back pain. And so when we're sitting, the front side is getting shortened, and some of the hip flexors on the front actually go through the abdomen and connect into the low back. So if these guys are tight, they're doing this and they're pulling the low back out of position. So it's important to open up the front side to then relieve the back side. And there's a couple ways to do this. So I'm going to show you by stretching my right hip flexor. And so the first position, it is important that these are pain-free, but really play around with them and see what works best for you, where you feel it the best, because everybody's going to be different. So with this one, I'm staying 90 degrees, front leg is staying 90 degrees, and I'm actually just holding. I'm contracting my gluteus maximus. Contracting that glute is going to release the hip flexors and gives you a bit more of a nice stretch. From here, I'm bringing my right arm up and leaning over to the left. So I'm opening up this side. From here to here, feeling a nice stretch through there. From here, you can actually twist as well. You'll feel it again differently. The next variation of hip flexor lunge stretch is leaning forward, leaning more into the stretch, feeling it pull through here. From this position, same thing. You bring that right arm up and you lean away. I like to have something to hold on to give myself balance. Leaning away. And then you're going to lean into that stretch and then move around, kind of back and forth, twisting on the other side. You can even go right onto the ground depending on your range of motion. Now from this position, you can externally and internally rotate that foot to drop the hip out. Now some people might be able to be on their elbows. I can't, that's okay. Do where you're comfortable. in and out. And then you can add in a quadricep stretch of the right side. An easy way to stretch your hip flexors is sitting on the edge of your bed. I'm actually right on the corner and I'm right on the edge. I'm gonna grab one knee to my chest and I'm simply gonna fall back, and I let that leg just hang down and use gravity to get a nice deep pull through the front of the hip flexor. If you had a partner, they could apply some light pressure onto that quad and push down even further to get a deeper stretch. If not, just hang out here and enjoy. So this stretch is a modified pigeon stretch. We are bent at 90 degrees here, 90 degrees in the front knee, and then you can fall forward, feeling a nice stretch through the backside of that left hip, that front leg, and then you can actually move around in it. So do some twisting, in and out, wherever you're comfortable. So pigeon pose, we are stretching the front side of that extended leg and the back side of the bent leg. So be careful with knee pain. If you feel this at all, go back and do the modified version of it. And here, you can kind of play around in it. You can shifting that left hip back and forth, side to side. You can twist. And you can grab that extended leg, hold that foot to bring it into a nice quad stretch. So we're gonna do the frog stretch. Starting position is kind of child's pose, and then take the knees wide and then let the feet drop out as well. And you can be on your elbows, you can be on your hands, wherever you're comfortable, and kind of, I like to again, move around within this stretch. You should feel a nice pull through that high up in the groin, the short head of the adductor, and you can just hang out or move around, totally up to you. So figure four stretch is great for piriformis, IT band, glute. So to start, both feet are on the floor. We're bringing one leg, I chose my left leg up over, and so it's on the quadricep right above the knee on the right leg. So figure four here, if you can see that. And then from here, we actually can drop, so I'm dropping my right leg, bringing it back up. Dropping my right leg, bringing it back up. So this again just creates movement through those glute muscles and those hip flexors. So this stretch is great for your low back as well as your hips. So I am sitting kind of cross-legged, one leg in front of the other. It's not up on top of each other, it's just in front. So I have my left leg on the bottom with my foot flexed. Then my right leg is down on the ground in front with my foot flexed. And from here, you are going to slightly lean forward. And you should feel a pull through, because my right leg is in front, I'm going to feel it more through my right backside. You can lean forward. I like to actually just let myself fully collapse and then move. Back and forth. From here, you can push that right leg down. Come back to the center, come up. Then add in a nice QL stretch. Leaning over to the other side, you should feel a nice pull through here, through that low back. And move. Good. So we're going to do a great hamstring IT band stretch. So we're kneeling. If you need to have yoga blocks on the side or something to hold you up, that's okay. If you don't have that flexibility to come right down to the ground, I'm barely there, I'm on my fingertips. So from here, you're simply bending from straight-legged, flex those toes to bent leg. In and out of that hamstring stretch. And then you're gonna add in some rotation. So dropping those toes in and out, again, hitting different part of the hamstring, the inside and outside part of the hamstring. Do a bent leg. Good. And then taking it one step further to add in the IT band, you're actually just gonna lift your leg, bring it more across your body, and then bring your hands to the other side. You should feel a nice pull through there, again, working within straight leg and bent leg. It's a little awkward, but once you do it, you definitely feel it. Dropping those toes to the outside will target a bit more of that IT band hamstring area, right up through there. Now this stretch is a fantastic recovery pose for after a day of sitting at the desk. My butt is right up against the wall, right into between the wall and the floor, as close as I can get it. And my legs are straight, flat against the wall, my toes are flexed. Now if that's too uncomfortable for you, you can bend the knees, or you can move your butt back away from the wall a couple inches. Find a place that's comfortable for you, and you can literally hang out here for as long as you want. You can let your legs fall down into a fantastic hamstring adductor stretch. This is the greatest way to separate those hamstrings and your adductors. And just hang out here. You can bring your toes in and out, again, hitting different fibers, or just chill. Another thing you can do in this pose would be to do that figure 4 pose. So from straight-legged and bringing one leg over, down onto, so that my ankle is sitting on my quadricep, and just hang out here. I can push that knee back as a nice hip opener, or bring that heel of the extended leg down the wall a bit. And then really torque that knee with my hand on my knee, my other hand on my ankle, and really open it up. You should feel a nice stretch through that back side of the glute of the leg that's bent. And you can, again, move in and out of it. You can move to the side. Cat-cow is a fantastic way to loosen up the back after a day of sitting, or creating some blood flow after you get up in the morning and before you start your day. So my hands are underneath my shoulders, my knees are underneath my hips, and my knees are about hip width apart. And we're going to start going down and arching up, breathing in, exhaling, getting a nice extension through the spine. Breathe in, breathe out. Make sure it's pain-free. Then you're going to get into neutral, and you're going to start wag the tail, which is just moving the hips side to side as if you're wagging your tail. And then you're going to bring the two together into side flexion. Bringing hips and shoulders kind of swing to create some side flexion through the obliques. Then get into neutral. Then we're just going to do hip shifts from side to side. You should feel a nice stretch to that posterior side, slowly working all the way back. Right down into child's pose. You can bring your knees a little further apart, hands flat against the floor, forehead flat against the floor, nice opening through the back side. Then from here you can do some movement, so kind of walking from side to side, feeling a nice opening through that low back area.
As I move to the left, I'll feel the pull on my right side, opening up that rib cage and low back.